All right, guys, welcome back to Keith's Hot Takes. I am so excited about today's show. So on today's show, one of my listeners wanted me to talk about the Kwame Brown situation. So why not? I give my listeners what they want. So yeah, so let's talk about the Kwame Brown situation. So Kwame Brown, he went to school at Glennon Academy in Brunswick, Georgia. His senior year, he averaged 20 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 5 blocks per game, and 3 steals per game. And he was going to go to Florida, but his mom got injured at work, slipped a disc in her back, and she was going to basically be depending on disability checks. And Kwame, he didn't feel right about him going to Florida, so he decided to enter the draft, go number 1 overall, make a lot of money, put his mom on the golf course, and take care of his family for the rest of their life. So I can respect him for doing that. He was the first number 1 overall draft pick taken straight out of high school, but it had been 11 other players before him that had went pro straight out of high school, but he was the first one to go straight out of high school and be number 1 overall. The other 2 people that did it were LeBron James in 2003 out of St. Vincent uh, in Ohio, and Dwight Howard out of Atlanta Christian. I think that's where Dwight Howard went to school. So those were the only other 2, and then the NBA changed the rule, of course. So all right, so I know many of you are wondering, so what made Kwame Brown start going off after he's been quiet for 20 years? So I know really the only time I heard of Kwame Brown was, y'all remember the epic rant that Stephen A. Smith had about him on Sports Center when they were talking about the Kwame Brown trade? He was like, Kwame Brown. He just was going crazy. But I got some videos I want to show y'all, so I'm going to share my screen, and the first video that we're going to look at is Jeannie Buss was on the All the Smoke podcast with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, and they were talking about the Marc Gasol trade to Memphis. They got Pau Gasol, and I think basically they're talking about how that helped them win a championship. And then Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson are going to make some jabs at Kwame Brown, and that's going to basically shake a hornet's nest, and it's going to get something started that they couldn't put out. So I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna cut my camera off, and we're gonna watch these videos. So I'm gonna play the Kwame Brown. I'm gonna play the All the Smoke podcast first, and then I'm gonna play what Kwame Brown had to say about Steven Jackson first, and then we're gonna get into a funny video that he had about Matt Barnes. So let's do that now.
Super smart, and it just.
Did you guys thank Jerry? Because wasn't Jerry over in Memphis and gave you guys Pau?
Well, we traded Marc Gasol,
yeah, that's what people,
right?
oh, you got him for nothing, not realizing that what you guys gave him was Marc Gasol.
And Kwame Brown. And so,
Marc Gasol.
And, you played with Marc?
No. That was a one-man trade. You just used the name. That name was just there.
So now we get Pau. We go on this run, and we end up in the.
Okay, so as you see in that video, they're clowning Kwame Brown because, as you know, Kwame Brown really wasn't a good NBA player. He didn't live up to the expectations that you have when you're the number 1 overall draft pick. And yeah, they're just making a joke because it was really a one-person trade. They're saying that Kwame Brown really wasn't a good player, so they really were only trading for one player. And Kwame Brown had something to say about it. So let's hear what Kwame Brown had to say.
He just strictly kept it basketball and said, I just don't think he was a really good player, which is cool with me. But it's been 20 years ago. And the way he said it was very disrespectful. That's all I said. But this is the guy who all he do is attack black men. He didn't have that energy for that white guy who from the Seahawks who beat the hell out of that black lady, allegedly. Because I don't know, I wasn't there. But I want to see a video of him with that same energy saying that this white guy life is nothing and all this other stuff. Did he even threaten the guy? Did he say anything to that white guy who allegedly stomped our black queen out? Did he?
In that video, Kwame Brown is saying that Steven Jackson, all he does is put down black young athletes, And I noticed that the media, the situation he's talking about when he's talking about the white guy, he's talking about Chad Wheeler, and he's talking about how I noticed a lot of the media, they didn't give that a lot of energy, but like when it was the Deshaun Watson situation, they talked about it for days and days and days, but it just seems like most of these stations, they just talked about the Chad Wheeler situation for a day and then just brushed it off and didn't say much more about it. So he brings up a very interesting point, and that's true. I didn't haven't seen Steven Jackson talk about it. So Kwame Brown makes some great points here. Now let's watch the funny response he had for Matt Barnes.
You talking about? You inadequate, boy. That's why you always got another man name in your mouth. And then you always acting like, now you want to talk like a politician. Oh, I don't know what was going on. I was just taking my son to the game. But you lucky Derek ain't take him to the game, punk. The f you talking about? You were just taking your son to the game. You don't know what's going on. And you sitting up in one podcast and then the next podcast and you tapping on folks talking about another grown man. I'm 20 years removed from the #1 draft pick. And you sitting here running your mouth about a man that ain't never said nothing about you in that manner? I never said you couldn't have an opinion, sir. So to sit here and try to pump some narrative talking about he butthurt about being the #1 draft pick. How the hell that's butthurt that ain't saying nothing to nobody about nothing? If you never would have put that extra disrespect on it, bro, let that woman finish her sentence and don't say nothing. But no, you talk too motherfucking much. And that's probably why your ex-wife was tired of hearing you run your motherfucking mouth and trying to be prettier than her. Sitting up in the mirror, hogging all the mirror space, trying to get that activator and that finger wave.
So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit, but that's just a little bit of what Kwame Brown had to say. He went on for hours and hours about Matt Barnes, but here's some more of what Kwame Brown had to say about Matt Barnes.
When something ate your food, some Derek Fisher done open your doors to your house. Derek Fisher got your keys to your truck. You can send some gas money so you can pick them kids up. Yeah. Now what you do, you want to sit on TV and act like y'all is perfect, and you can't respect when a man tell you wrong, bro. Well, let the gloves come off. The only joke you got is about basketball. I got a joke about your life, you. The f is you talking about? What is Derek Fisher? Is he the mentor or the stepdaddy or what? Because he your mentor too. Y'all a trip. You want to sit online, and this what Rachel Nichols sat there and got your dumb to say something else again. Because see, Rachel Nichols know. I'm going to say something. I ain't got to lose. I don't got no big podcast. You the dumb that keep responding to a that you bigger than. You stupid mother. You ain't learned nothing because you think you tough. A light-skinned like you with slick hair should be acting like Drake and taking girls. But no, you getting your girl too because you want to be a thug. You want to smoke, play cards all night, punk.
Oh, man, Matt Barnes, you should have been careful. You gotta be careful when you joke about people, because some people ain't with the jokes. Ooh, oh man. Oh man, yeah. So it seems like Kwame Brown would have been fine if they called him a bust, because I mean, what can you do about that? People are entitled to their opinion, but when they started talking about the one-player trade instead of the two-player trade, I guess that's when he was like, "All right, I gotta light you up." So. Yeah, so you just have to be careful because, like I said, everybody's not with the jokes. This reminds me of in high school when, you go in the lunchroom, and I know at my table I have my homeboys. We used to just roast each other at the lunch table, and it was a good times, man. And that's what this really reminds me of. Because Kwame Brown, you can tell he's very educated. He does his research, and he really takes his time with finding out dirt about these people because he really lights them up. So, yeah, but now we'll talk about Charlamagne Tha God to close out the show. And you know how us black people, we like to stick our 2 cents in a situation that has nothing to do with us, and it can have horrible consequences like we're about to see now. So let's hear what Charlamagne Tha God had to say about the Kwame Brown situation. So here we go.
Let me tell y'all something. Leave Kwame Brown alone. I don't know if y'all know, but you could do a little research. Kwame Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever met Kwame, but I know a lot of his family. His family lived in Moss Corner, South Carolina. His father's name was Willie Brown. I don't know how many kids Willie Brown had. I don't know how many siblings Kwame Brown got, but I went to school with his sister, and I went to school with one of his brothers. Let me tell y'all something. Kwame's father in the 90s, I remember this story. He beat a woman with an axe handle. It was his girlfriend. And the rumor was he buried her alive. He buried her in the area that I grew up in, if I remember correctly. I've been trying to call my dad since yesterday to confirm the whole story because I literally forgot about this until yesterday. But the woman died and he got arrested. If he's still alive, he's in prison for life because he got caught because he left South Carolina after the murder and came back for his paycheck. Let me tell you something else. His other brother, I don't know if him and Kwame were close, but his other brother shot his baby mama several times and then killed himself. That was like in 2008. And his other brother, Kwame's other brother, just went to jail for murder like 3 years ago. All of this you can Google. I'm saying all that to say, leave Kwame alone. That man has been quiet for 20 years. He don't bother nobody. Clearly all that, all that he's a bust stuff gets to him, and you don't know what people are going through or have been through, but I've seen folks snap for less, and it looks like, Kwame is snapping. And if you look at the history of men in his family, you would know his men in his family have a history of snapping. Leave Kwame.
So I feel like part of what Charlamagne Tha God was saying was good, but when you bring up what Kwame Brown's family has done, I feel like that was unnecessary. I don't really think you should have brought that up. And as we're about to see, it seems like Charlamagne Tha God doesn't really know what he's talking about, and he should have done more research before he goes on a national radio show and just throws all type of dirt on Kwame Brown's family and him. So yeah, I just didn't think that was a good look. But some of what he was saying was good. But when you get personal with the family and stuff like that, that's when I don't think you should have done that stuff. So let's hear what Kwame Brown had to say in response to what Charlamagne Tha God said on the Breakfast Club. So here we go.
Now the Breakfast Club done joined in. Now I think y'all gonna have to be the next victim. So Charlamagne Tha God, you want to talk as if you know me because, like I say, you part of that Buffole too. You like Steven Jackson and Becky with the good hair. Y'all probably be at them same parties. So Steven Jackson, rapist, Charlamagne Tha God rape case guy that actually pled guilty and got away with it. We're gonna name you got away with it. So because I called two gentlemen that you can clearly hear on your podcast that they tapped somebody and said only one person was part of the trade. You mean to tell me you gonna purport the story the way that you see fit? You want to talk about a brother that I never met, that my father had children outside of his marriage, just like DJ Envy cheating ass? So I'm wrong because my father had a son at the time that I never met. So you're going to put out to the world that killer. I asked these gentlemen and they said they was joking. So now it's time to light your little...
All right, I'll end it before it gets really violent and vulgar, and we don't need to hear all that stuff. So yeah, Charlamagne Tha God didn't seem like he knew what he was talking about, and it was just really bad that he put Kwame Brown's family's dirt out there, and that could have brought up some trauma for Kwame Brown that didn't need to be brought back up. So you just have to be careful. But like I said, I'll never call Kwame Brown a bust. He was able to put his mom on the golf course at 18. I hope one day I can make it big and provide for my family and provide for my mom and dad, get them a house. That's every kid's dream. So I'll never call him a bust, even though, he never lived up to the expectations in the NBA. I know when all this first started, he was talking about how him and Kobe combined for 82 points that night that Kobe went for 81 points. It was so funny to me. Kwame Brown, please don't come for my family, please. But that was just so funny to me. He was talking about how I set all the screens for Kobe and stuff like that. That was funny to me. Before I wrap up, I wanted to read a tweet that Jamal Crawford tweeted out last night. One of the greatest six-man ever in the NBA. I swear, the right coach, the right system, your career can look totally different. And I feel like that's true for Kwame Brown. If he had different teams that he went to, different coaches he went to, who knows? Maybe his career would have looked different. So we never know. But he made $63 million in his career, and he was able to provide for his family for the rest of their life. His kids never have to worry about anything. So I'll never call that man a bust. So salute to Kwame Brown. Keep doing what you're doing. Check out his YouTube channel, Kwame Brown Bust Life. He has a lot of subscribers that watch his videos, so hopefully I can get that many views on this video, this podcast. So we shall see. So on next week's show, I'm going to talk about Julio to the Titans. Hopefully I can bring some guests on to talk about it with me. And do I think Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, do I think that they'll be traded before the season? And if I do think they'll be traded, who do I think they'll go to? So we'll talk about all that and much, much more on next week's podcast. So I'll see you guys then. Peace.